So guys, this week we got another brand new major update for Insurgency Sandstorm called Operation Cold Blood, this time themed around winter warfare. And so in this video, not only do we have a new map, new weapons, and a ton of other changes to talk about, we're going to ask the question, is it actually any good? Well guys, this is BillyEatWorld again, and let's find out. Alright guys, how you going? Welcome to the video, and like I said today, we're going to take a look at Operation Cold Blood for Insurgency Sandstorm, which, to be honest, I actually didn't expect to see this year because it was only a couple of months ago that the last major update came out for this game, Operation Breakaway. And look, I think this one, along with some of the things the devs have said recently, is probably a good indication of where the game's going in the future with updates. Firstly, it looks like the devs are going to keep focusing on themed updates, and also by the looks of it, they might be a little bit lighter on content than we've seen in the past, but hopefully a bit closer together. Now, with that being said, there's actually quite a lot of important things that Cold Blood does add to the game, and a few things especially that I think are going to be pretty meta-changing. First up, we've got a brand new winter map called BAB. We've got 2 new weapons for the marksman class, and we've also now got Toggleable Optics. Not just that, but we've also got a bunch of new cosmetics and a couple of weapon skin sets as well, some free and some paid. And of course, like usual, the devs have also included some AI improvements, some weapon balance tweaks, and a ton of other optimizations. We're going to get into all of that in just a bit. Now, to kick off, obviously the most important feature of Operation Cold Blood is the new map, BAB, which, like I said before, is focused on winter warfare. And I guess the first thing you are going to notice about this one is that it's a massive departure from the last few DLC maps like Power Plant and especially Tell. This one isn't a close quarters map at all. It's actually probably most similar to Outskirts. There's some urban sections, but it's mostly fairly open terrain in between elevated areas on either side. So in a nutshell, it's pretty much a camper's paradise, which is pretty frustrating if you're like me and you like more of a run and gun play style. Now, that's not to say that the map's bad, it's just not really an instant favorite for me like, for example, the last few maps were. And not to throw shade on the devs, and maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like maybe a bit more work went into Power Plant and Tell. This one, especially compared to those two, doesn't really visually stand out for me at all. And not just that, but I was getting flashbacks of the Battlefield 3 days. The map looks like it's got some weird blue tint that kind of looks really wrong at first. So I mean, all in all, look, it's a brand new map. You can't complain about that. This game needs more maps, but it's only really a 7 out of 10 at best, especially compared to the last two. Decent, but nothing to write home about. Now, on the other hand, something that is a fair bit more exciting are the 2 new weapons. We've now got the M110 SAS for the security team and the classic M1 Garand for the insurgents. And like I said before, both of these are on the marksman kit, which is pretty good because we actually haven't seen any new sniper rifles since the 50 cals were added last year. Now, both of these new guns hit really hard and they're both semi-auto only, but obviously the M110 is a fair bit more advanced, so it's worth 4 points compared to the Garand, which is only 2 points. But for that extra cost, what you do get is up to a 20-round capacity with extended mags. Although the Garand does have one trick up its sleeve, it's actually able to equip rifle grenades. Now, obviously, introducing a couple of new sniper rifles does change the balance of the kit a fair bit, and so what the devs have decided to do is pair this up with some weapon balance changes. For example, to make the bolt actions and the 50 cals more attractive, what they've done is reduce their base cost and also the cost of a lot of their attachments. Not just that, but once again, they've also hit the Mark 14 EBR with the Nerf bat. They've increased its vertical and its horizontal recoil. And that's because obviously with its ridiculous full auto rate of fire, despite quite a few nerfs already, it still manages to be one of the more broken guns in game. And I don't think the devs really want you to run around in CQB with a marksman rifle. All right, so moving on, probably even more exciting than the new map and the new guns for me is, like I said, the devs have finally added toggleable optics in this update. This is something I know they've been wanting to do for quite a long time now, and it's finally here. Like, I can literally remember having this discussion with the devs back at Gamescom in 2018. Basically, in a nutshell, what they've done is firstly allowed you to use the secondary iron sights, which are already available on some of the optics, and we can now also flip over and take the magnifier out of the optic field of view. And not just that, but they've also added a couple of new switchable scopes, like, for example, an ACOG with a reflex sight on top, and they've also allowed you to adjust the zoom amounts on some of the longer range scopes as well. Now, I think it goes without saying that this actually has the potential to massively shift the meta, especially considering that a lot of people are already running around with battle rifles in CQB anyway. So in a nutshell, you now have the ability to turn one of those battle rifles into a DMR, assuming, of course, that you are willing to spend the points to equip it with one of the fancy new switchable scopes. Also, speaking of supply points, another thing you'll notice is that a lot of the scopes have had their supply cost adjusted to reflect the fact that the entire optic system is now completely different. And look, I'm not going to go into all of those changes in this video, but maybe look out for that the next time you're setting up your favorite loadouts. Maybe you might have to tweak a few things around. All right, now just before we finish up, we probably should take a look at a few of the things that I don't really consider myself to be that impactful, but maybe you guys might be interested in. For example, we can now customize cosmetics at the start of the rounds, and we've now also got a couple of new free cosmetic sets as well. The Hill Rebel for the Insurgent team and the Wetwork set for the Security team. Not just that, but we've also got some paid DLC cosmetic sets in this update as well. We've got the Insurgent Yeti set and the Security Sasquatch set. And of course, we've also got some paid weapon skin sets as well, which, by the way, if you do want to pick up, you can get at a discount if you choose to buy them all together. Now, finally, just before we finish up, like I said before, the devs, as usual, have also fixed a bunch of other stuff as well. Most importantly, they've apparently improved the performance of Hideout, Farmhouse, Precinct, and Crossing. That's really good news. And not just that, but speaking of maps, we've now got Outpost available on a few more maps in this update, and they've just generally improved the game mode on a few of the maps it was already on. Also, last but not least, they've made some changes to weapon availability in co-op modes to bring them more in line with the PvP modes. And speaking of co-op, they've apparently improved the AI yet again in this update. You'll have to check the dev briefing for all of those specifics, but in general, that's good news if you are someone that enjoys PvE. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up this quick update video. So as always, make sure you let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And of course, just remember that I can't possibly cover every single detail of these updates in one video. So as always, if you want to find out more, I'll leave all the links in the description. As always, though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please feel free to check out the links in the description if you want to see any more of these videos. And also, don't forget you can find my Twitter and Discord links down there as well if you want to keep in touch. And as always, until next time, see you later, and have a good one.